Hey, Jew, get on up. JPR makes you shake your butt. Hey, Jew, get on up. JPR makes you shake your butt. I won't stop recording.
Good morning, Jerusalem. This is Blanita coming to you from JP Radio, the voice of Jerusalem, bringing you news today on the topic of the ministry of Jesus. His teachings have been sparking a lot of controversies among the people. What are your thoughts, Carl?
You know, Glenita, he seems like a really cool dude. People seem to like him. I've heard rumors on the streets that he's done some awesome things, even turned water into wine. But I've also heard some folks say pretty awful things about him. Say that he blasphemes.
That's true, and also why we went out into the streets of Jerusalem to talk to a few people on their viewpoint of Jesus, the so-called Messiah.
Standing in the streets of Jerusalem, we have Kevin here, a zealot, ready to enlighten us on his opinion of Jesus. So, Kevin, what is your outlook on Jesus' speech about loving your enemies?
Carl, do you really think that a man like me would love my enemies? Romans have taken away everything, and I don't think loving them is the answer. The answer to their ways is taking them down, one by one.
I can feel the presence of anger in your words, but doesn't Jesus make a connection on how we shouldn't show our anger towards others? Even in the midst of this world and all the chaos, shouldn't we show love instead of hate?
I guess that is what Jesus is saying, but I don't believe that I should have to live my life through that understanding. I think that I should be able to do things the way I would like to. They are treating us in an unfair way that is not righteous, and they need to be put in their place.
I can see where you are coming from, and there have been issues brought up about the treatment of the Jews.
It's just not right, and I personally don't care about Jesus' teaching. I'm just pointing out the fact that I will never show love to the Romans. First they steal our money and possessions, but then they have the audacity to bring in false gods and teachings. I have no respect for Romans, so I will never ever love my enemy.
The next person we are interviewing today is the disciple Matthew, who was a former tax collector before Jesus took him in. So Matthew, how are things going with Jesus' ministry, and more specifically, the reaction you had to his speech?
Jesus' words are full of grace and truth. I agree with his teachings, but he is asking a lot of us. Because of our sin and temptation, we are unable to follow every rule he has planned for us.
So, Matthew, is it true that you were a tax collector before you started following Jesus?
Yes, that's true. I was an honest man who took things from other people for my own benefit, but then I found Jesus. He accepted me for the person I was and still am today. Even though I have received the title of disciple, a disciple is a learner or student of Christ, which includes everyone who is willing to listen and accept his teachings.
How has his ministry helped you grow, and how has it affected you to go out and spread the gospel?
Well, having been a tax collector, I was used to doing things for myself rather than others. I knew that if I got the job done, then I would be on Rome's good side and everything would work out. But through his teachings, I have learned, along with all the other disciples, that showing love to others is the main priority.
You just mentioned that you learned about loving others, but what is maybe another key lesson that you received while listening to Jesus' ministry?
Yes, along with the lesson of love, Jesus has given the disciples a lesson of the pattern of prayer worked into our Christian worship.
Matthew, a big thanks goes to you for taking time out of your day to answer a few of our questions.
We are now taking some time to interview a common person named Miguel.
Hello, it's great to be here with you.
As a common person wandering the roads of Jerusalem, what is it like to be a witness of Jesus' ministry?
When I first heard of this Jesus guy, I was a bit skeptical. I wasn't sure how other people would react, so I stood back and watched. Then every once in a while, I would listen to him. Other times, I would wander by. When I would listen, I would pick up on a few things, while other things I was really confused on. When I continued to be more and more invested in his ministry, I listened a little closer and a few pieces of his speeches got trapped inside my mind. I wanted answers to my questions, so I kept going back to him.
You said that you would sometimes listen and sometimes not. What made you want to listen, and what had you keep on walking by?
I was hesitant to follow him. I had once heard him say that we should take up our cross. After I heard him say this, I was unsure if I wanted to continue to listen to him, being unprepared to leave my life behind and be willing to sacrifice it all.
What made you change your mind?
I would say seeing how many others were piling into the crowds, listening to him. Along with the people, I had heard a few miracles that he has performed, and I began to wonder who he truly is. I decided to listen to him on a more regular basis, and once I started listening, things fell into place, and I found faith in the true God.
Thank you, Miguel, for sharing your story with us today. We hope to hear from you again.
Next, we are speaking with Vincent, a Pharisee of Jerusalem. Nice to see you today, Vincent.
It's great to be here.
So, Vincent, with being a Pharisee, how do you react to Jesus' ministry?
Well, this man completely contradicts what we believe and say. He's a blasphemer.
What do you mean by contradicting?
Basically everything we stand for. He's telling us that what we are doing is wrong, and he's making us seem unworthy of our position in front of the people of Jerusalem.
You sound very confident in your words about your own righteousness.
Yes, we believe that we are very righteous, and Jesus is telling us that we lack this. He's embarrassing us by publicly defying what we teach, and it's humiliating.
Well, thank you for visiting with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to the Jerusalem Public Radio. Have a great... Wait a second! Carl, look!
Guys, look!
Oh my Jesus! Look, it's Jesus!